Alright, so I got a bowl blank here that I rough turned a couple months ago. It says 430. So this I got from Amy's brother's place. Brand new chopped down tree. Rough turned it 2 months ago. This is birch wood. So you throw it in a bag with wood shavings and it helps to take some of the moisture out. It should sit for another month or two, but you know, I'm bored and so we're gonna mess with it right now. You can see that the bottom, this was turned obviously to a circle and it's out of shape now. So step one is going to be taking this part here, which is the tenon, and how I hook it to my machine, and turning that into a little bit better of a grabber for the chuck. So we'll put it in between the two centers and spin it down a little bit and rough it out again. And yeah, that's what we're doing.
And hedge fund investors, as good as they are in terms of the amount of money they bring in, it's really no match when you have millions upon millions of citizens and businesses and countries that's about to enter. So what's that to say? This year.
I think one of these jobbers would probably do a little better.
Which was pending forever. Now we're about to have real
Yep.
ETFs that's coming on board. We already have it from Canada. So everything that was talked about before is now here now. So very different, right? And if things can move as crazy as they did in 2017, they can still move like that in 2021.
Birch is giving me nothing but shavings, so we got to grab a dust mask.
And Bitcoin options expert.
So what I'm doing here is just making this a little bit bigger, and then we'll make a proper tenon on it, and
What we saw was 64,000.
get ready to turn it to a bolt.
It's not the high.
So on here I cut it down so that it's round again.
I said months.
And as you'll notice, like right here and where the tenon is, so it's round, and this is how far the tenon has moved. It's like it's shifted completely over since from drying out. So this whole thing needs to get
See, this is
whacked
also how you
off.
can tell capitulation is here.
All right, well, here we got the bowl on the chuck. Clean up the outside a little bit, and then work on the inside. Still got a little bit of wobble to it. Oh, man. Need the old dust mask, I guess, huh? Well, this is going to be where we're going to see whether or not the chuck's going to hold on to it or not. It's pretty soft wood. If the chuck doesn't hold it, well, we'll figure something else out. Got to take the tail stock off. it is like super, it's wetter as you get down towards the bottom, but it's pretty soft. Super soft wood. Yeah, you get the gist of how it goes though. It's pretty much that to clear it all out. This piece already has a crack in it before I even started. I noticed that, so it's just on practice, but you know, we'll see what it turns out into when we're done. Whew, she's a hot. She's a hot. So really, if this was a little harder, it'd basically be done because I wouldn't have this stump in the middle. I could clear it out a lot easier. But what I'm going to have to go in here to do is use a scraping tool. I think in order to get the rest of that out, I'm sure there's many instruction manuals that say not to do that. This is John's garage. Seems like it's pretty round, it's pretty bowl shaped. I think I'll do one more cut and then do the scrapers. Yep, there's that. I can't go any thinner on the sides. I can already tell it's just not strong enough to take it. So that will be what it is. And we'll clean out the inside with the scrapers. Round tool head. Look like a bowl. So yeah, you got to be careful when you get down to the center because it's the pit kind of sort of. Also, you know, you have your pressure coming down this way because this is how she's spinning, and as you get to the center you can catch on that backside that's coming up, and it's just something that happens and there's nothing you can really avoid it, but you know, it's dangerous if you're working on something really big. You know, I think that's good. I'll clean up the edge here a little bit, and we'll sand it up. Well, that might just have to be a little rough. This bowl's already at, like, before I even started on it, there had a crack in it. So I figured I'd just spin it out for practice. So we can tolerate a little bit of a rough spot there, I think. But maybe we'll give her the sponge treatment. Maybe we'll get the sponge going in there and we'll see what happens. Most of it was pretty good. Going in reverse. I don't want to go in reverse. Nah, still kind of rough. That's better. When you're doing a bowl, it's usually, you're doing end grained and side grained, so wherever you have end grain in here, it's going to be rough. Yeah. Well, that's going to be good enough. Now I'll run through two different more kinds of sandpaper, and then I'm going to put a sanding polish on it, and we'll see what we get at the end. And then we cut the tenon off that I used to hold everything together. And that's going to be how it goes. Alright. Well, there it is. Pretty well done and sanded. There's a little rough spot in there that whatever. It's just going to have to be that way. What I am going to try though is I made some stuff. I know, Dad, you're familiar with valve grinding compound. Well, I made my own valve grinding compound, except this is out of diatomaceous earth mixed with beeswax and some like lemon oil or something and some mineral oil. And that supposedly will put a shine on it, and there's nothing better to test it on than something that's just, you know, already got a crack in it before I started, right? So we're going to try that, and we're going to see how that goes. This gets really hot when you're doing this, by the way. I should be wearing gloves. And the idea here is to melt the wax into the pores of the wood. Well, it's something. It did something all right. It's something. I'll throw a little bit on these rough spots and get a t-shirt or something. made of cloth. Or a microfiber sponge. Reminding me about safety, I forgot to wear my wood turning necktie today. It's the only time that I wear a tie, you know, because wood turning is a special occasion. Ooh, she's a hot. She's a hot. I really don't like that rough spot. It bothers me. But that's just going to be the way it's going to be. Now, I usually color it and treat it. I'll just use this. I'll just use that. But instead, we're just going to use some of this because I still have to cut the back off and the whole thing could explode on me on the lathe. You never know. It's amazingly true, I'll tell you that. Can't see any vibration in the camera at all even. I can feel a little vibration, but you can't see it. Now what's really going to be fun is turning this thing around to cut the back off. The chud flying off there is the wax. That's hardening and some of the diatomaceous earth. So there's that. Alright, so how do we get this thing back on here? Well, I got one of my old tenons here from an old thing that probably fell apart. And we throw some rags in here, and then you do one of these numbers, and then you bring up the tailpiece. And you put the tailpiece in there like that, and then you're good to go. And we're just going to remove that down to a little nub as much as we can, saw off the rest, and then sand it and finish the bottom part where that was, just like we did the rest of it. And that's all there is to it, folks. That's all there is to it. she's gonna want to fly out. It's a little out of balance, so it'll sit a little crooked, but I don't really care. This is how that works. So you're eating away at the tenon, and then you want to have a little bit of a scoop there so that it sits level. So that's what we're trying to do. A little bit. It's about done. You get her down to a cat's whisker, and then you can saw it off real easy. It's actually pretty good to go right now. And I think that's good. I think she's done. That's how you make a bowl. Yeah. It look like a bowl. It's a bowl.